The sun blazed mercilessly in the Florida sky, its heat pressing down like an unforgiving weight. I stood frozen, my breath caught in my throat, one hand resting protectively on my swollen belly. "Take a nice walk," my husband, James, called out mockingly from the driver's seat of his sleek luxury SUV. His voice was filled with cruel amusement, and laughter erupted from inside the vehicle. His mother, Diana, and sister, Ashley, sat in the back seat, their faces twisted into smirks. My heart pounded as I watched in disbelief. This couldn't be happening. Then, without another glance, they sped off, leaving me alone at the gas station, stranded in the middle of nowhere. My name is Kayla Thompson. And at that moment, I learned what true betrayal felt like. For 3 years, I had been married to James Wilson, a man I had once believed to be kind, protective, and loving. But as I stood there, watching the dust settle in the wake of his departure, reality crashed down on me like a tidal wave. He had left me, his 8-month pregnant wife, alone under the scorching Florida sun. The trip had started as a family vacation to Daytona Beach, something James insisted would bring us closer together. He had claimed that inviting his mother and sister was a way to strengthen family bonds, but now, I saw it for what it was. A setup. A cruel joke at my expense. I had simply gone inside the gas station to use the restroom. Walking was becoming increasingly difficult in my 3rd trimester, so I had asked James to wait. But when I stepped outside, I saw them. They were all watching me, pointing, laughing. And then, just like that, they drove off, their laughter ringing in my ears. I stood in stunned silence until a voice broke through the haze of my shock. "Ma'am, you okay?" I turned to see the gas station owner, Tom, an older man with kind eyes. He had witnessed the whole thing. Without hesitation, he ushered me inside, away from the oppressive heat, and offered me a cold bottle of water. "I've got security cameras all over this property," he said, his voice tight with anger. "What they did? That ain't right." I sank into a chair in his small office, my mind racing. My phone, my purse, everything I owned was in that car. I had nothing but the dress on my back. I wasn't just stranded. I was helpless. Tom's wife, Barbara, appeared moments later, her face flushed with righteous anger as she handed me some crackers. "I'm calling the news," she declared. "People need to hear about this. What kind of man leaves his pregnant wife stranded? And with his family laughing about it? No, this isn't going to stay quiet." I should have felt embarrassed, humiliated. But instead, an eerie calm settled over me. Let them call the news. Let the whole world see James Wilson for who he truly was. As I rubbed my belly, feeling my baby girl move, I knew this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about my daughter. She deserved better than a father who found cruelty entertaining. Looking back, the warning signs had been there all along. James had seemed different when we first met at a charity gala. He had been warm, charming, even protective. He had made me believe that despite his wealthy, elitist family, he was different. I was a kindergarten teacher, someone who worked hard for everything I had, while he came from old money, his family deeply entrenched in Florida's high society. Diana, his mother, had never liked me. She ran the prestigious Wilson Family Foundation and made it clear that I didn't belong in their world. "It's sweet that you work with children," she would say with a forced smile. Though I always hoped James would marry someone more accomplished. Ashley, his sister, was even crueler. She relished humiliating me, like the time she invited me to a casual lunch that turned out to be a formal charity board meeting. I arrived in a simple sundress, only to find myself surrounded by women in designer suits. Oh dear, I must have forgotten to mention the dress code. Ashley had cooed, her eyes twinkling with amusement. At first, James had defended me. But the moment I got pregnant, something changed. He started siding with his mother and sister, laughing at their cruel jokes, making me feel like an outsider in my own marriage. A notification sound pulled me from my thoughts. Tom had logged onto his computer and pulled up Facebook. My breath caught in my throat as I saw the post on James's page, uploaded just minutes ago. finally free for a relaxing family vacation. Some people just can't handle the Wilson lifestyle. #beach life #family first. The photos showed James, Diana, and Ashley lounging by a resort pool, cocktail glasses in hand, looking relaxed and happy. Their social circle had already flooded the comments with laughter and congratulations. I clenched my fists. "There's more," my best friend, Nicole, said when I called her from Tom's landline. Diana's foundation just announced a fundraiser for family values and responsibility next week. The hypocrisy is unreal. Meanwhile, on Tom's security footage, I saw myself walk out of the gas station bathroom, my belly prominent, as James's SUV deliberately pulled away. The sound was crystal clear. Their laughter. Their taunts. "Those aren't people," Barbara muttered. "They're monsters." A sharp pain shot through my abdomen. I gasped, gripping my belly. Barbara's eyes widened. "Honey, are you having contractions?" "Just Braxton Hicks," I said through clenched teeth. But another wave of pain made me wince. "At least, I think so." Tom was already on the phone. "Better safe than sorry," he said. "Nearest hospital is 40 minutes out." As if on cue, a news van pulled into the lot. The reporter, Jennifer Parker, took one look at me and made a decision on the spot. "We're taking you to the hospital first," she said firmly. "This isn't just a story about abandonment anymore. It's about endangering an unborn child." As I was helped into the van, more media vehicles pulled up. The story had already gone viral. And James? He had no idea what was coming. Tom stood before millions of viewers, his face serious as he played the audio recording. The voices of James's mother, Diana, and his sister, Ashley, filled the room. "This will teach her to embarrass our family," Diana said, laughing. They had been joking about leaving a pregnant woman stranded in the middle of nowhere. The audience was in shock. Who could be so cruel? Meanwhile, at the hospital, Nicole rushed into my room, her eyes wide with urgency. "Kayla, you need to see this. Someone just leaked emails from Diana's foundation." She held up her tablet, showing a string of messages exchanged within the Wilson Family Foundation. The emails revealed a disturbing plot. Diana had worked behind the scenes to separate me from James. In one message, she wrote that a pregnant kindergarten teacher wasn't Wilson material. But the real shock came from a set of text messages exchanged between Ashley and James. "Once the baby's born, we'll have grounds to claim she's an unfit mother. Your job at Florida Values Insurance and Mom's connections will make sure we get custody." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. This wasn't just about humiliating me in public, it was about stealing my child. Just then, a man in a suit appeared at my hospital door. "Mrs. Thompson, my name is Michael Roberts. I'm the Chief Ethics Officer at Florida Values Insurance. May I speak with you privately?" Nicole stepped out, and Michael wasted no time getting to the point. "We have terminated James's employment, effective immediately. Our company cannot be associated with someone who endangers a pregnant woman and schemes to separate a mother from her child." He handed me a folder. "These are screenshots of James's work emails. He used company resources to research custody lawyers specializing in maternal fitness cases. We've forwarded everything to your legal team." My hands trembled as I flipped through the pages. James had been plotting for months. He had documented every small mistake I made, preparing to argue that I was emotionally unstable and unfit to be a mother. Michael wasn't finished. "One more thing. Our HR department has uncovered multiple complaints of workplace harassment against James. Several female employees have been afraid to come forward until now. This goes beyond your case, Mrs. Thompson. You've exposed a much bigger issue." After he left, Jennifer Parker, my lawyer and close friend, entered the room with more news. Diana's biggest charity partners have just announced they're cutting ties with the Wilson Family Foundation. The exclusive country club they belong to has revoked their membership. Their carefully built world is falling apart. "It gets better," she added, a smirk on her lips. The luxury resort they were staying at just kicked them out. Other guests complained about sharing space with those horrible people from the news. Security is escorting them out as we speak. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. It was from James's assistant at Florida Values Insurance. I saved the dashcam footage from his company car. He and his mother planned this for weeks. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I looked out my hospital window at the growing crowd of media outside. The Wilsons had tried to destroy me, but instead, they had ruined themselves. The next day, an unexpected visitor arrived, James's former executive assistant, Amanda. She looked nervous as she clutched a thick folder. "I can't keep quiet anymore," she said, settling into the chair beside my bed. "The custody plan, it wasn't just about taking your baby. There's money involved, a lot of it." She laid out a collection of documents, insurance policies, trust fund statements, and financial records. My stomach churned as I realized the truth. "James and his family took out multiple insurance policies on you," Amanda explained. "One of them is a massive life insurance policy, one you never signed up for." Nicole's face turned pale. "They weren't just trying to take your baby, they were trying to push you to a breaking point. The stress, the abandonment, it was all part of their plan. If something had happened to you..." I shuddered. If I had gone into labor alone at that gas station. "We need to get this to the FBI," Nicole said firmly. "This isn't just a family dispute, it's attempted insurance fraud." Jennifer arrived as we were piecing together the evidence. "We have to be careful," she warned. "The Wilsons still have powerful friends. They're already trying to spin this as a misunderstanding." Almost as if on cue, my phone lit up with a notification. Diana had posted a video on her foundation's website. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her voice shaking with fake emotion. "We only wanted to protect our grandchild," she sobbed. "Kayla's behavior had us deeply concerned. We never meant..." The video cut off as another call came in. "James." I glanced at Jennifer and Amanda before answering and putting it on speaker. "Kayla, baby, please," James said, his voice thick with forced concern. "This has all gotten out of hand. Let's talk privately. Let's work things out, for our daughter's sake." I thought about the insurance policies, the custody plans, the months of manipulation. "You're right, James," I said, my voice steady. "Our daughter does need her father, just not one who would risk her life for a financial scheme." His tone darkened. "What are you talking about? Be careful, Kayla, you don't know who you're dealing with." "No, James, you don't know who you were dealing with. A kindergarten teacher who knows how to document everything, who has witnesses, security footage, and now, your own paper trail. The whole country is watching you." The line went silent. Then, he hissed, "You'll regret this." I didn't flinch. "Your family is finished. Check your phone. The FBI just announced an investigation into your mother's foundation. Someone sent them some very interesting documents." Amanda gave me a small smile as she ended a call. "The FBI agents just arrived at the motel where they're staying. The insurance company's fraud division is working with them." I rested a hand on my belly, feeling my daughter kick. "She's going to grow up knowing her mother stood up to bullies." I whispered, "That's worth more than any trust fund." The next morning, the news showed footage of the FBI leading Diana out of the motel in handcuffs. Her glamorous image shattered as she faced the consequences of her actions. A week later, I held my newborn daughter, Lily, in my arms. She had arrived 2 weeks early, perfectly healthy and beautiful. As I watched the news, I saw James being led away in handcuffs. Breaking news: federal investigators have uncovered a pattern of insurance fraud within the Wilson Family Foundation. Sources say this case is only the beginning. Tom and Barbara, the kind strangers from the gas station, had sent flowers and a note. "Your daughter has a strong mother. That's worth more than any fancy family name." Nicole helped adjust Lily's blanket as we watched the CEO of Florida Values Insurance make a public statement. "We are establishing a fund for victims of domestic and financial abuse. The initial funding, it comes from the salary we withdrew from James Wilson upon his termination." I kissed Lily's forehead. She would grow up knowing her mother's strength, not her father's cruelty. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about breaking free and building something better from the ashes.